God's always going to meet his goal, no matter if it's with us or with someone else. But he so wants your yes so he can work through you in his mighty power. There's no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears punishment has not been perfected in love. We love because he loved us first. Let me just pray real quick. Jesus, God, that you would help your words speak through me, God. That you would just reveal to all of us that there are ables and ways that we can walk in freedom from things that hold us, that bind us. But Jesus, today there would be freedom. There would be walls torn down. There would be all sorts of distractions, whatever it may be, that you're just going to take those away and lead us through a path of freedom in your name. It may surprise you when you think of great people that have accomplishments or successful or celebrities, and they're like, they always had it right. Like, they started something and they always did it right, and here they are and they're successful. But it may surprise you that they all pretty much started in failures or like attempts and then didn't do it, and then they kept going. Walt Disney, who a lot of us may know, was fired from his first job from the Kansas City Star because his editor said, "You lack imagination and have no good ideas." He then later on went to redefine American childhood. Like, if he had stopped there and been like, I have no creativity, all my drawings, everything I'm doing, no. But he said this, "I think it's important to have a good, hard failure when you're young, because it makes you kind of aware of what can happen to you." Theodore Seuss Gazelle, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, I'll apologize, but we call him Dr. Seuss. The much-loved children's author had his first book denied by publishers 27 times. Only when a friend of a friend connected him to a new publishing company was his book published. His book then that wasn't good enough for publishers, went on to sell more than 600 million copies worldwide. But can you imagine 27 times, like maybe on the 20th attempt, no, it's not that good. Like, I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna choose a different career path. But no, he continued, he pursued, he had a goal, he had a vision. I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna keep trying. I failed, I'm gonna keep trying. And for all you sports people, Michael Jordan, did I got you, Josiah? Now he's locked in, was cut from his high school basketball team. 6 championships and 5 MVPs later, Jordan became arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. In high school, though, was said, "You're not good enough, sorry." But he said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." J.K. Rowling, an internationally famous author, whatever your thoughts and views regarding the famous series she wrote, she has done incredibly well for herself. And that all started out on welfare, a broken, depressed, divorced, single mom who was writing books while studying for college at the same time. And she wrote these words that are very impactful to me. "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. In which case, you fail by default." That'll sink in. That sunk into me. Okay. If we don't try at all, then we fail by default. Many great examples of those we see as the greats, and it would make absolutely no sense if they quit at the first failure. Like, did not continue on. In hindsight, the failure was a little blip in their life story. Just a small portion of time, but in the moment, it was everything to them. Could have directed and derailed their life to be different and caused them to not succeed further. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, if I knew I was Michael Jordan, I would just keep on trying, for sure. But you're you. Just how God created you to be, with a plan and a purpose. And do we allow a blip to alter and redirect our lives for fear of doing it again one day? Or do we embrace failure and learn and grow from it and try again? There are many different versions of failure. Failure can be to fall short or to be wanting, to prove deficient under trial or pressure, to miss achievement, to disappoint or desert. Then there's also many versions of fear of failure. fear in family history based on what's behind you. This can be a number of things. This can be every marriage in my family history has ended in adultery or cheating and divorce. So why do I even try? If it's in my family history, why am I attempting when it's going to end in failure? Learned or environment fear of failure. You may have grown up in an environment where people taught you that failure was unacceptable or that anything less than perfect was failure. Traumatic failure. You've experienced great failure and the pain that came with that, and now hold everything close to you so that there's no risk in it happening again. Sometimes failure can be small, something we can brush off and move on from. I'm born from a family of communicators. I have a father who has been a professor at a Bible college for over 40 years. I have a mother who started out as a first grade teacher, then went into tutoring, along with homeschooling us from K to 12, which is a miracle. Thank you, Mom. But now she is also a professor at a Bible college. I have two brothers who went from various positions in the church, from children's pastor to associate pastor, lead pastor, tech director, professor at a college. I am in a family of communicators. In whatever avenue or aspect, my family spoke, they taught, they passed on wisdom. And so I thought, okay, so a small part of that probably is passed on to me, like potentially, like maybe not the full extent, but like they communicate, I communicate, sure, a little bit of that is in me. Second year of Bible college, we had to take a mandatory speech class. Super fun. But I love the professor who was teaching it, and he made it really, really fun. And during that time, I was taking the class with my then boyfriend, not Daniel. Anyway, so this professor was phenomenal, and he gave tips and tricks and was really helping all of us like get comfortable with ourselves in order to communicate and express what we were trying to say. I loved it. I'm like, great, this is great. So I think I was one of the first students to make a speech. And I was like, yeah, nervous. But I was like, I'm gonna do it. And that was like checkbox one, like just do it, great. And I was using his tips and tricks, and I was like, this is great. Like it's not awesome, but it's great. It's my first time, it's fine. So I sit down after giving my speech next to my boyfriend. He leans over, he's like, well, it's a good thing you're in the music program and you're not gonna communicate for the rest of your life. Soon after that, for many other reasons, he was no longer the boyfriend, and that's fine. But what that did for me was it planted a seed in my heart that said, if I were to ever do this, I would fail, I would be a disgrace to my family, I would be a disgrace to the church, I would be a disgrace to Jesus. So for many, many years, the thought of speaking or communicating or sharing, I ran from that idea. Because clearly it wasn't part of my life. I wasn't built that way. And that's okay. I'll find other endeavors. I was in the music program, you know? I wasn't in theology. But then over time, with the pastoral care from our great pastors, Craig and Shanda, opportunity here and there, I did things that scared me. But I found fulfillment in Jesus in doing them. Sometimes there can be small failures that you can walk through still, and you can move forward with the encouragement of those around you. Sometimes failures can be larger things that leave a mark on us, causing a course correction in our lives. Many people end up sitting on the sidelines of life, feeling washed out, having experienced this aspect of failure. Because it's not just the actual failure that they face, it's the after effects. It's the negative emotions of shame, loss of confidence, guilt, discouragement, and regret. Those are the things that leave a mark on you when you walk through a failure. The large failures in life that we cannot brush off and move on from create a toxin in our lives. It can poison one's outlook on life and bring about spiritual death. We can lose our sense of self-worth, blame God, and take on a passive disposition. These only serve to put a lid over our own lives, cause us to lock down on life, never make good of future opportunities, and impede one's own spiritual growth. Just existing, not living. And when I was doing research for this and I read just existing, not living, words never I resonated so much with those words because I was able to pinpoint seasons in my life where, okay, that was me existing, not living, not thriving, just surviving. I couldn't name it in that time, but that's what we were feeling when we walked through miscarriages in our life. When we felt the burden and the call from God to be fruitful and multiply. It's okay, let's do this, let's go for it. But having failed multiple times. Yes, not our fault, but still felt like a failure, which led to seasons of me existing and not living. Seeking out my self-worth in this failure and the expectations that I had on myself based on people or based on people around me versus trusting in God and the process that he had for me. And through seasons of existing and not living, this is why we named Zoe, Zoe. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and Zoe means life. And she was birthed out of a season of existing and not living. So we found it so appropriate that we gave her a name that resembled life because she brought life back into our lives when we were existing and not living. Our failures have a direct correlation to the lack of success in our lives, which is why it's so important to keep in mind what was said at the very beginning of this series. Walking in freedom is a partnership between God and me. I walk on my salvation while he works in me through his mighty power. If I try and do better and make it happen on my own strength and on my own skill and my own timing, what will happen is I will continually be hitting a wall, falling short, not succeeding, running on empty, getting frustrated and wanting to quit. But here's the thing, is that God doesn't ask for our perfection. He doesn't want that. He doesn't ask for us never to fail or never even fear a failure. What he asks for is our yes, our obedience, and our trust. But today we're going to look in a story back in the Old Testament of some people who may have failed, some of them rather epically. But we can... Sorry, the Eliason household is very sick. Have children. It does wonders for you. You're sick all the time. But we're going to look in the Old Testament in Exodus 3. And this is the story of Moses. And God approaches Moses. This is after Moses has left Egypt. He wandered for 40 years. He now found some sheep and a wife. He's living a pretty good life. Like, he's content. He likes it here. But in Exodus 3, God approaches Moses via the burning bush and instructs him of his great plan to free his people from captivity. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God said, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on the mountain." Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say then, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is your name?' Then what should I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you." God also said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you.'" It's very comical that this is Moses' first response. The Lord is speaking to you through a bush that is not engulfed in flame. We're not struck by that. Like, that doesn't stop. The Lord is also telling you of this great plan that he has to free his people out of Egypt. None of those things were his first response. His first response was, "Yeah, not me. Nope, I don't think so. Like, there's a bush on fire and it's not burning." No? Okay, great. Moses continues in Exodus 4 with the reasons why he should not be God's chosen deliverer. Moses said to the Lord, Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent. Neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight and makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord?" Sense a tone of frustration here. "Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He's already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth, and I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and he will be your mouthpiece as you were God to him. But take the staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with him." I feel like some of us have seen that scene in The Prince of Egypt. We all love it. It's like there's music, it's emotional, it's epic, it's go, like I am sending you. But in reality, I wonder if this scene was like a little tense. Like Moses just keeps saying, "Don't use me, don't take me. I failed, don't use it." And God's like, no, I want to, I have plans. No, don't use me. Fine, I'm gonna send Aaron, okay? Is that gonna make you happy? Will you come now? That was just my 2 cents. Maybe it was beautiful and had music and everything like that. Maybe not. But God is laying out his plan to free his people and telling Moses, "You're my guy. Like, let's partner together. Let's do this together." And all Moses is doing is showing all the ways that he should not be the guy. Even to the point of responding by saying, "Who do you think gives man the ability to speak?" Moses was walking through many things at this point. Killed an Egyptian, put into exile, rejected from his people, wandered for 40 years. I understand why he may hesitate and be like, "God, are you sure? Do you know me? Do you know what happened?" But he goes further in doubting God's choice so much that he doubts the success of the plan and keeps putting another option. "Don't use me, I have failed already. I will fail again. Don't make me do this." But more often than not, we can't see ourselves the way God sees us, and that portion requires trust on our part that God knows best when he calls us. And by this I mean, what Moses couldn't see was actually how perfect he was for the task that God called him to be. What was needed in order to be a deliverer of the Israelites? The qualities of the deliverer, what God needed in someone to be the deliverer of the Israelites it was necessary that the deliverer should be familiar with the habits of the court, assume its manners, speak its language, should feel himself socially on par with Pharaoh. The deliverer needed to have high aspirations, a bold spirit, fervent zeal, and yet to have all these under control, to be calm, quiet, self-contained, persevering, prompt, considerate. Moses was familiar with the customs of the Egypt court. Moses could speak with the Pharaoh almost as an equal, since he was a son of an adopted son of a princess. He had been accounted a prince. Desert life, which had made him calm, self-contained, patient, persevering, considerate, without quenching his zeal and taming his high spirit. No Hebrew but Moses had the advantage of education and position enjoyed by Moses. No Egyptian would have been trusted by the Hebrew nation and accepted as their leader. No one who is neither Egyptian nor Hebrew would have had any weight with either people. Thus, Moses was the one and only possible deliverer, exactly fitted by God for the position which it was intended he should take. Raised up, saved, educated, trained by God, to be his instrument to deliver his people. So exactly fitted for the purpose. He could not see that God brought him through all those things in his past so that he could be the perfect deliverer for his people. Doubt, hesitation caused disobedience in Moses because he wasn't ready for a yes for God's call. Because he was too busy giving all the reasons why he should not be the guy to deliver God's people. God knows best whether we are fit to work out his purpose or not. But it makes me wonder, in reading through this story, God brought Aaron into the situation, but only after many objections by Moses. What if the story that we read in the Bible is not the ideal first version? What if the first version was God working through Moses with great power and giving him the boldness and the favor with God, with people, and the right words and speech and show of power? What if this was the backup plan? The negotiation, because God still wanted to use us and work through Moses, but also still God had a goal to free and deliver his people. Because of the hesitation and doubt and fear of failing again, was this the backup plan? God's like, trust me, I have a plan. I don't know about that. Okay, God's like, okay, I still need to make my plan. You're going to do this. I'm going to bring this person in. It's still going to happen. Because God doesn't need us. That's the hard reality here. That's the honest truth. He can make it all happen on his own. But he so desperately wants to use us and work through us for his fulfillment and for ours. God didn't need Moses, but he so wanted to use Moses and work through him and use him as his guy to deliver his people out of Egypt into the promised land. That was his wish. Moses, you're my guy. But the goal was always met. And Pastor Daniel talked about this last week in his sermon of listening to the Holy Spirit. And when the Holy Spirit nudges you, like you go for it, you do something. And he gave an example of meeting a waitress and asking questions about a boyfriend and that he was diagnosed with something and he was going to do it. And then he forgot and got distracted. And then later on, he's like, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened to that situation. But in confidence, Pastor Daniel said, but I know someone else, God used someone else to impact that woman. God's always going to meet his goal, no matter if it's with us or with someone else. But he so wants your yes so he can work through you in his mighty power. We don't have to have all the boxes checked and everything like that. We don't need to know the full plan. God, you're going to deliver my people from the Egyptians? That's a crazy plan. God's like, yeah, it is, but it's going to work. And I just need your yes. I have a speech impediment. I talk slow. I don't even know what to do with a staff. Yeah, but I do. So I'm going to work through you so you can be my mouthpiece, my deliverer, and set my people free. Further on in his life, there was a situation with Moses and a rock. When God told Moses when the Israelites needed water to drink. And God said, speak to the rock for water. And out of frustration again and doubt that it wouldn't work, Moses just kind of hit the rock multiple times, just like aggression, like this isn't going to work. I'm just going to hit on it. You think he'd learn by now that when God tells him to do something, okay, come on, buddy, just do it. The hesitation, the doubt, and the unbelief, the fear of failure did cost Moses something, but it kept him from something great. Yes, absolutely, God worked through him and did mighty things. But at the end of his time, when the Israelites came out of wandering of 40 years and they were entering the promised land, God brought Moses to see it. And he got to see the promised land at the end of his time. And then God said, that's as far as you're going to go. God's goal is always going to be met. But when we allow fear and feel failure to change and redirect our lives, what's going to change is our outcome. Yes, we are still used by God and we still do great and amazing things, but to reach the full plan that Jesus has for us, you can see it, but that's as far as you're going to go. Living in fear of failure and letting it direct our life causes us to doubt God's call, his choice, his direction. It puts us in a posture of disobedience to God. Then it stops you from living in the fullness that God has for you. We disqualify ourselves from the plan. We decrease the version of ourselves from what we could be to a limited version of ourselves. God still freed his people, yes, but Moses never made it to the promised land. Now, the point of this message isn't that you walk out the doors and be like, great, I can never fail, ever, now, wonderful. Or even thinking like, I can never fear failure, so I'm just going to positive thinking. And when someone says, don't think about that, all you're thinking about is that thing, like, positive thinking, don't fear failure. That's not the point. What we can take out of the story of Moses is that if we give fear a foothold, it's going to grow strong and lead and redirect our lives out of our control. So when fear says, you're not enough, then we get to say back at it, you're right, I'm not. Fear is trying to convince us that in our strength and power, we are not enough. We are constantly veiled through that lens. But as Christ followers, we know and understand that in our weakness, he is made strong. I do not have to try and succeed on my own strength, but by partnering with God in his power and strength, that even in my failures, he can grow and transform me and change me and use me for his glory, that he gives all us the tools that we need. Where fear limits us, God's power opens up the multitudes. Where Moses felt all his failures in behind him disqualified him from being able to be that guide, to be able to be the deliverer, when God in return said, I knew of all those things, and I was using them to create your path. The best path, not the plan B, not the plan C. I had it all arranged for you because I knew what you were going to do, and I knew that I could use you, and I knew that my power through you could do great things. What Moses may not understand is that through his past failures, God was at work and using it for his future. What you may not understand is that through your failures and in your fears, that God is using you for his glory and purpose to deliver his people, and also giving you opportunity and advantage to live the best version. God, you don't you don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've tried, because I've said those things in my heart. So I think maybe some of you have said those things in your heart. God, you don't know what I've tried. But yes, he does, because you think he didn't know that Moses had a speech impediment. He was having him go to be the communicator to the great Pharaoh so his people would be set free. I'm pretty sure he knew that Moses was able to speak or not. Thanks, Daniel. But God, you don't know how many times I've attempted and I've failed over and over again. He does. And in the Bible, in Philippians 3:13-14, it says, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken a hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. I press on towards the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ. Do not measure yourself by what is behind you, because God doesn't, and neither should you. And we're going to look at one more story in the Bible, and the worship team can start to come out. And this was an epic fail. This was a pretty big fail. But the beauty of the restoration afterwards gives us hope. I want to look at a story of Peter. Simon Peter, one of our disciples. And this story happens in Luke. And to summarize it, we won't read through it, but Jesus is having the Last Supper with his disciples. Everyone's chatting and kind of laughing, kind of like knowing what's happening later on, like, this is great. I think you're going to go die, but it's fine. It's great. And Peter's a talker. He's a loud talker. He likes to proclaim things. He likes to be the life of the party. So he's chatting and everything. And so it came about that everyone knew that at some point, Jesus was going to be turned over by someone. And Peter's like, well, that's crazy. Who would do that? Like, who in this group would do that? Like, Jesus, I would die for you. I'll go to prison for you right now, right here. Like, I'm ready. Let's do this. Like, he was making promises like, I am there for you. I will go to the ends of the earth for you. And Jesus turns to him and says, before the end of day, before the chicken crows, probably butchered that. Anyway, we all know the story. You will deny me 3 times. And Peter's like, what? I don't understand. No, I would never do that. He was ready to go to prison to die for Jesus moments before. But this was the hole in his armor, his blind sight, his blind spot, if you would call it. What he was not prepared for, the fear of what will happen with his status. How will people look at him? What will they say? What will change for him? Jesus was literally on trial right now. Would he be next? Because when they took Jesus away and he was on trial in front of everyone, Peter was out in the courtyard listening in. Like, I'm going to take my moment. I'm going to barge through. I'm going to save the day. It's going to be great. So he's listening. And not like mere minutes after that, one person comes up and says, Are you that one guy? Are you Simon Peter? No, you have me. No. And wanders off. Minutes later, a second. He says, absolutely not. I don't even know that person. And then a third, I know nothing of this Jesus. And then there was a crow, chicken, rooster. There you go, rooster. I went to Bible college, it's fine. And all of a sudden, this great weight engulfed him because he realized what he'd done. Peter's unshakable confidence when he had claimed he would go to Jesus to prison or death was tested when he saw how powerful all the leaders treated Jesus. His fear of associating with Jesus led him to deny his Savior. Although most of us don't face the prospect of death for following Jesus these days, we can still seek to avoid the public ridicule by downplaying our relationship with him. But here's the beautiful restoration part of this. This was in Luke, and now we come to another book in John. Jesus has been crucified, resurrected, and seen people, his disciples already, and now his disciples discover him on a bank waiting for them as they fish. And they ate and talked on the shore. And Jesus says this, John 21:15, it starts. So when they had eaten breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than they? And he said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him again a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said, tend to my sheep. He said to him a third time, ironic, I don't know, but he said to him a third time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? He said to him, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Then Jesus said, follow me. And this is a very common thing that Pastor Daniel and Pastor Craig talk about is heart posture. That what is our heart posture towards the Lord? Peter loved the Lord so much, therefore his obedience was an easy thing to follow after that. Because God, you have my heart, therefore you have my yes. I will follow you. Scared or not scared, it's a step of faith. What is our heart posture towards the Lord? Is it hesitant? Is it doubtful? Is it, all the boxes aren't checked, God, like I don't know how this is gonna work? Or do we say, yes, Lord, have your way? God can do many great and wonderful things with failures when the heart posture is of love towards him, when it's our yes, Lord, have your way. But God can do little with failures when the heart posture is of doubt and fear and hesitation. Did Peter fail miserably? Yes, absolutely. But what brought him back to the Lord is his absolute love for him. Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Perfect love casts out fear. We love because he loved us first. And we're going to take a few moments here as we close. And if you are someone who's walked through failure and never been the same, if you are someone who fears greatly what will happen when failure happens and how the world will see and treat you then, if you are someone who was raised in a way that failure wasn't an option, so you put yourself in a box, never to step out of your comfort zone and try opportunities and new things. Everything is calculated. You know the risk, therefore you know the outcome, and that's the box that you stay in. If you are someone who failed, now feels distant and disconnected from God, not knowing how to get back to him, and even if you can, we're going to take a couple minutes here. We can get our prayer team and our communion people ready. Because this is not a way of living. This is not living the full version of what God planned for you and has ready for you. That just like he did with Peter, he can use all things for his purpose and his glory and restore you and bring you out. See, that's great how we've acknowledged fear and fear of failure, but like, how do I get out of this? These are the steps that we're gonna take. Number one is acknowledge. Going to acknowledge the failure or the fear of failure in my life. Going to acknowledge the disobedience where I've hesitated and doubted and haven't followed Jesus. Jesus, here it is. I'm going to acknowledge it. And in that same breath, God, I release it to you. It is no longer a guide or control me. It will no longer direct or hold me back. I do not set up camp in this. This is not where your life stops. This is not where your life is just forever going to be. I acknowledge and I release it to you. Number two is rebuild and restore. And this is like kind of clean house. God, let's just kind of clean it up here. The things that failure has left behind for you to deal with. The emotions of shame, guilt, loss of confidence, discouragement, regret. The atmosphere that it left behind for you to live in. That God would come in and clean house, to rebuild and restore to what was so that growth can happen. This is not a way of living that you were meant to live in. Trust and move forward is number three. Trust that God gives us everything we need to fulfill and respond to his call. But I'm scared. God can work in that. I don't know what's gonna happen. God can work in that. I failed before, that's okay. I've started a business before, that's okay. He needs you to do another one. I've lost connection with my children, that's okay. God's with you this time and he's gonna reconnect you there. Because this verse kind of sums everything up. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Those are great words, but when you actually look at them, he gives us love, letting us know we are never alone. He gives us power to do the work that he has called us to do beyond our own skill and capability. And he gives us a sound mind as he speaks through us and gives us the words to say and direction to go. He is not leaving you alone in this situation. He is giving you all the tools that you need. He does not want you to stay in this position. When years go by and you think, I can't do that. No, God, choose someone else. But when Pastor Daniel was talking on comparison a few weeks ago, he's saying, when this is your path, but you're comparing your path to someone else who's over here, so your eyesight shifts, therefore your whole direction is now here. When we lose our pathway, God says, I'm here, follow my voice. He gives us all the tools. He gives us all that we need. We come with a, yes, Lord, have your way. And so we're gonna take a few minutes here. And if you're like, I don't wanna do this anymore. Years, I don't wanna keep running or stopping or being frozen or being paralyzed because of what could happen. This is not a life that I wanna live anymore. I wanna walk in freedom. I wanna walk in confidence. I wanna walk knowing that God has a plan for me ahead of me. I don't need to know all the details, but I'm tired of living in the box that is risk-free. Because more often than not, the payment for risk, what comes out of that, the glory that comes out of that, is way more than the risk that you had to put into that. But we don't know that, but he does. And if you're like, I can't go there, I can't walk up to the front, grab the person next to you. But we're gonna take a few minutes, and for the rest of you, we're gonna take a few minutes of worship, and you can pray for those who are up there. But if you're feeling like, I've been stuck for so long, and I've wondered was I passed over? Did God actually have a plan for me? Or is just this like the leftovers, and there's nothing for me. And God's like, I just need your yes, and I have great things in store for you, but all I need is obedience from you and that yes. Everything that's in your past, I've made to allow you to succeed here. You have all the tools that you need. I just need your yes. And so if you're seeking a change, if you're like, I don't want to be in this rut anymore, I'm going to ask you to come forward. We have prayer, our prayer team over here, and we have communion over here. And that's walking through restoration of your life, that God gave you salvation and walking through all the way to praising Him. So if that's you right now, we'll encourage you to stand up to your feet and come forward, because there's people who want to join with you as you say, I don't want to live this life anymore, but I don't know what to do from here. That they're going to pray for you and walk you through the next steps, because from here on out, it's going to be a different version of you. God, I don't know what's going to happen. I may fail, but you're going to with me every step of the way. You have my heart. You have my heart posture. I'm scared. That's okay. God doesn't ask for perfection. He just asks for our obedience. I don't have it all figured out. That's okay. I just need trust. It's a step of faith. It's a step of trust, knowing that He has all things ordained. Another person should do that. No, it's you. Moses, you're my guy. If He's saying to this, you're my person. You're what I've called you to. You're who I need to go deliver some people. You're who I need to go take some people, meet some people that are in the city that need my word, that need my love. You're who I need. You're who I need in the business world. You are who I need in the education system. You are who I need as a pastor. If there's people that have a ministry calling on their life, you are who I need. You're my guy, and we're partnering together to get this done. And so we're going to go in a time of worship right now, but I encourage anyone, if you need prayer, come up to the front. We have our prayer team over here. We have communion, but if not, then please stand to your feet, and we're just going to worship our God for a couple minutes here.
Your name worthy you were, and worthy you are, and worthy you will be forever. And worthy you were, and worthy you are, and worthy you will be forever. And worthy you were, and worthy you are, and worthy you will be forever, Yahweh.
We're going to end with just one more thing. There's still prayer happening. We'll be respectful to that, what's happening over there. But if you're at a place in life when you need to make a natural response to a spiritual decision of saying, yes, Lord, have your way. If you've had questions, if you've hesitated, if you're just not sure, but there's a stirring inside of you that says, God, I need to give you all so that you can work through me. That I work on me and your power works through me. And so we're just gonna do something, not gonna ask you to come forward, but if you're ready to say, yes, Lord, have your way in my life, have your way in my relationships, have your way in aspects of me. God, you have everything. You have my obedience, you have my heart posture, everything. Just raise your hand right now, because today will be a significant time and shift in your life where all of a sudden there's gonna be a step of faith that comes in you, and you're gonna say, God, whatever it is, have your way. Great, you're gonna set my people free. God, whatever it is, my answer is yes, have your way. And in this moment, you're saying, Jesus, I open my life. I even bear out all my insecurities, all my fears in this moment. But what's stronger is a trust in you that you have a plan and a purpose for me. You have a plan and a purpose for this church. You have a plan and a purpose for the families here. You have a plan and purpose for the college students here. You have a plan and purpose for the youth in here. So together as we say, God, yes, Lord, have your way. Lord, that you would move through us. All the fears that will hinder us, God, that you would wash those away. All the doubts, all the hesitations, all the reasons why. But in this moment, Lord, we give you our yes. We give you our heart. We give you our obedience. We say yes to the call. And that we're able to walk in freedom from all the areas, all the aspects, all the things that are telling you you're not good enough, you can't do it. That our ears will be so in tune to your voice. As you did with Peter, follow me now. Jesus, we ask that this would be a monumental day, a shift in people's lives. You have our yes, have your way. Lord, we thank you for what you did today. We thank you for what you started. The seeds in hearts, the encouragement, the prayer, the joining together, the partnership that you've started with us. God, that you would take it further out from here, further out from a Sunday to a Monday and a Tuesday. That every day we partner with you, Jesus. You have our yes. In your name, amen.